My name is Kevin Jacklitz. This is the Kaged Review, and today I wanted to talk a little bit of wrestling, but not a show, but a wrestler in an interview really opening up about behind the scenes. So Chris Jericho has his podcast, Talk is Jericho, and he had Jon Moxley, or if you will, Dean Ambrose from WWE, and Moxley had a lot of things he wanted to talk about when it comes to behind the scenes and creative with WWE. And it really kind of opened up some things that I really doubt that Vince McMahon really wanted opened up. So in this interview, it's about an hour and a half long, Jon Moxley talks about the creative process and how there's a team of writers and they write scripts for all the wrestlers. And these scripts have to get written and printed out and approved by whoever approves the scripts. You know, they got to make sure they're not offending anybody. And in this new PG culture where everybody is just offended by everything, it really takes a lot away from the wrestlers. And it doesn't give them a chance to be creative anymore. And so he's talking about how they write these scripts that are just garbage, and he doesn't want to do it, and he has to talk to the people who write the scripts, and they say Vince okayed it, so he has to go talk to Vince McMahon, and apparently it's a very long process that could take hours, and they just keep writing garbage. Now, I personally have been saying for a very long time that when WWE writers write comedy bits, it falls flat every time. I don't know that I've seen one comedy bit in years that has actually been funny. It's stupid. It's inane. And the storylines are not very well thought out. And he explains that, you know, a lot of times people can't build their character because they're running around backstage trying to save face from a lot of the idiotic stuff that's written for them. And you really have to feel for people who are trying to get over, trying to do something with their career. They're in the biggest wrestling company in the world that has ever been. And it really shines a light on a lot of the guesses that I've been making here on this channel about how Vince McMahon has created a terrible process and he's out of touch. He is way out of touch at this point. And I've said that, and I hate to say that because I love what Vince McMahon has done, especially with the Attitude Era. He made wrestling cool. Vince McMahon, at one point, was the best name in wrestling. Let's face it, the WWE at the time was a juggernaut. And so he had this idea of expansion, but when it comes to expansion, now you have to watch your ass as far as what you say sometimes. And so, you know, you added the PG era, and now we can add, you know, family programming. And all of this is slowly killing WWE. And I've been saying this for a long time. And finally we have somebody in the company that has come out and said, you know what? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Vince McMahon is out of touch, and the way he has set it up now with all these people around him, he doesn't understand where wrestling is anymore. And this makes me incredibly happy that AEW is coming to the forefront. And the reason I'm so happy about that is because they don't have all that red tape to go through. If somebody wants to be creative, they have an idea, they can go to somebody and say, look, this is what I want to do. And there's not so much to go through. Not so much blocking them from being creative, which is something that also during the podcast that Chris Jericho said he had a problem with. He said he could come back to WWE and make his money and, you know, run out these storylines that really don't go anywhere. But he said he wanted to make a difference. And I really respect both Jon and Chris for wanting to make a change in the industry. I think it needs a change. I think people are very, very burnt out with WWE. I also think if WWE isn't careful, this could actually be competition. Now, everybody has said that, you know, they don't want to compete with WWE, and at the end of the day, no one's ever going to actually be able to compete or hurt WWE. I don't believe that, though. I believe the ratings have been going down further and further by the week for a reason. I believe people are tired of the crap that WWE puts out, and I believe that if there's a legitimate alternative to WWE, people may stop watching it altogether and watching the wrestling that is actually entertaining and fun and amazing to watch. The matches during Double or Nothing, they've shown that they can put on great matches. And honestly, matches that can tell a story. Cody and Dusty was damn good. Like, it was just so good. And, you know, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega is exactly what you thought it was going to be. But there were a lot of surprises. Because like I said in my review of Double or Nothing, there were guys in there I was completely unfamiliar with that just stole the show in my book. You know, I'm going to have to get into it and try to remember some of these guys' names, but there were some just amazing matches. And if they put on those caliber matches, which are equal to stuff that you would see in WWE, I mean, there's definitely some talented guys in WWE and women, of course. You know, there's talent in WWE. I don't believe it's the talent that is the problem. I believe it's the machine behind the talent that is the problem. I've always believed that. Well, and I will say there are some people that would have never been an afterthought in the Attitude Era. So, as far as that goes, you know, it really is an interesting time in wrestling. It really, you know, now we're getting the verification that, yep, there are things behind the scenes in WWE that have to be fixed. The creative process, in Jon Moxley's words, sucks. And it needs to be fixed. We all knew this. It's not really a big surprise, but it is nice to have that validation from somebody in the business who is a fan of the business. It's just nice to get that from it. So ladies and gentlemen, these are my thoughts. This is the information from Jon Moxley. Take it what you want. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Do you think that AEW could ever be genuinely a threat to WWE? I think it's a possibility. Doesn't mean it's going to be. They could fizzle out in a few weeks, quite frankly. But you never know. They could turn into something very big. They can turn into the next WCW. So like I said, let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz. Kaged Nation, out.